Stop for a moment before you pour another bowl of the same breakfast routine you've followed for years, especially if it includes eggs every single morning. That might sound surprising, even questionable, coming from a health-focused discussion, but the reality is that what worked for your body decades ago does not always work the same way after 75. There is a growing body of research suggesting that aging changes how the body processes and responds to protein, and that shift can quietly affect strength, mobility, and muscle maintenance over time, without obvious warning signs. After the age of 75, muscle tissue does not respond to protein in the same efficient way it once did at 40 or 50. You might still be eating what seems like enough protein, 2 eggs at breakfast, sometimes even 3, but your muscles can still slowly lose strength month after month. This is not necessarily about protein deficiency in the traditional sense. Instead, it is about how effectively your body can use that protein to rebuild and maintain lean muscle. A 2023 study published in a leading journal on aging and nutrition highlighted an important detail. Older adults above 75 who combined standard protein sources with specific nutrient-rich foods experienced significantly greater increases in lean muscle mass over a 12-week period compared to those relying only on common protein staples like eggs, chicken, or dairy. This difference was not minor or theoretical. It showed up in real, measurable outcomes: improved ability to stand from a chair, better balance stability, and stronger grip strength that could be directly recorded in clinical assessments. From a medical perspective, this is where things become even more important to understand. As a surgeon, Dr. William has observed scans and clinical data from older patients who were technically consuming enough protein, yet still experienced gradual muscle shrinkage over time. The key issue, in many cases, is not total intake, but rather how responsive aging muscle cells are to that intake. This reduced responsiveness is often referred to in scientific terms as anabolic resistance. In simple terms, it means that muscle fibers require a stronger or more efficient biological signal to trigger growth and repair. In younger adults, a normal meal containing protein may be enough to activate that process. But in older adults, especially after 75, that same signal becomes weaker and less effective. Eggs remain a high-quality protein source, but they do not fully address several age-related changes happening inside the body at the same time. These include increased low-grade inflammation, reduced blood flow to muscle tissue, and less efficient nutrient signaling pathways. Together, these factors make it harder for protein alone, no matter how good its quality, to produce the same muscle-building effect it once did. This is where the discussion begins to shift in an unexpected direction. Research has identified that certain fruits contain compounds capable of influencing these very limitations. Some of these natural foods may help improve muscle protein signaling, support circulation to muscle tissue, and reduce inflammatory activity that interferes with growth and recovery. When combined with protein, they appear to enhance the body's ability to actually use that protein more effectively. In other words, it is not just about eating protein, it is about creating the internal environment where that protein can do its job properly, especially in later life. This leads directly into the focus of this discussion: 5 specific fruits that may support muscle function and strength in adults over 75. Each one plays a different biological role, from improving nutrient absorption to reducing inflammation or supporting cellular repair pathways. They are ranked from least impactful to most powerful, based on current nutritional research and observed effects. The final entry in this list is especially interesting because it appears to activate a key biological switch related to muscle preservation that researchers are still studying closely. The data behind it has surprised many experts in the field of aging and nutrition. Before going deeper, it is worth pausing on a simple question. How old are you right now, and compared to 2 years ago, do you feel stronger, weaker, or about the same? This kind of self-reflection is often used in studies tracking physical decline or stability over time, because changes in strength are not always sudden. They are usually gradual and easy to overlook. Now, starting with the first fruit on the list, we begin with something that appears ordinary at first glance, but plays a subtle role in how the body responds to protein intake. Number 5 is jackfruit. Most people are not very familiar with jackfruit, yet this large tropical fruit has gained attention in nutritional science for reasons that go beyond its appearance. On its own, 1 cup of jackfruit provides about 3 grams of protein, which may not seem significant compared to traditional protein sources. However, its importance lies not just in quantity, but in composition and supporting nutrients that interact with muscle metabolism. Jackfruit becomes especially interesting when you look beyond the basic protein number and focus on how it supports the body's muscle-building process at a deeper level. It contains all essential amino acids required to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, meaning the body can actually use it to support repair and growth when needed. A 2022 study published in the International Journal of Food Sciences noted that the amino acid profile in jackfruit closely resembles that of certain animal-based proteins, which is unusual for a plant-based food and makes it more biologically useful than most people assume at first glance. What makes jackfruit even more relevant for older adults is the way it comes packaged with key micronutrients. It naturally contains potassium, magnesium, and vitamin B6, all of which play important roles in muscle function and recovery. Potassium helps regulate muscle contractions and can reduce the frequency of cramps that often appear during rest or sleep. Magnesium supports muscle relaxation and recovery after daily movement, even something as simple as walking short distances or doing light household tasks. Vitamin B6, on the other hand, is essential for protein metabolism, helping the body convert dietary protein into usable tissue rather than simply passing it through the system without full benefit. There is also clinical interest in how jackfruit may influence functional strength. Research from the University of Sydney observed that older adults who regularly included jackfruit in their diet showed an approximate 14% improvement in grip strength over a 6-month period compared to a control group. Grip strength is not just about hand power. It is widely used in medical research as one of the most reliable indicators of overall health, independence, and even long-term survival in older populations. What makes this practical is that jackfruit is not difficult to include in a daily routine. In many grocery stores, canned young jackfruit is available in the international food section. The young variety is preferred because it has a mild taste and a texture that easily absorbs seasoning. When cooked, it takes on a shredded consistency similar to pulled meat, which makes it easy to incorporate into familiar meals without changing eating habits too drastically. A simple preparation method involves draining the canned jackfruit, drying it slightly, and sautéing it with olive oil, garlic, and basic spices. Within minutes, it becomes a soft, savory dish that can be paired with vegetables, rice, or other protein sources. It can also be added to smoothies in its ripe form, where its natural sweetness blends well with ingredients like banana or almond milk, creating a quick breakfast option that is easy to consume even for those with reduced appetite. Consistency is important here. Nutritional studies suggest that benefits become more noticeable when foods like jackfruit are consumed regularly rather than occasionally. Even 3 servings per week may be enough to begin observing subtle improvements in muscle responsiveness and physical comfort over time. Another important detail is nutrient absorption. Research from Cornell University has indicated that combining plant-based proteins with vitamin C sources can improve protein bioavailability by up to 30%. This means that pairing jackfruit with something like lemon juice or other vitamin C-rich foods may help the body extract more usable value from it. Jackfruit is only the starting point. The next fruit goes a step further by combining higher protein content with strong anti-inflammatory properties that directly target one of the biggest hidden causes of muscle loss in older adults. It is not just about supporting muscle growth anymore. It is about reducing the internal conditions that actively prevent it. Guava stands out as one of the most complete and underrated fruits when it comes to supporting muscle health in older adults. At first glance, it may look like a simple tropical fruit, but its nutritional density tells a very different story. One medium guava contains more than 4 grams of protein, placing it among the highest protein fruits available naturally. When compared directly, gram for gram, it even approaches the protein content of foods like eggs, which surprises many people who do not associate fruit with muscle support. However, what truly makes guava valuable after the age of 75 is not just its protein content, but its powerful anti-inflammatory compounds. One of the most important of these is quercetin, a natural plant-based antioxidant that has been widely studied for its ability to reduce chronic inflammation. A 2021 study published in the journal Nutrients highlighted guava's exceptionally high quercetin levels and its role in addressing what researchers call inflammaging, a slow, persistent inflammatory process that develops with age and quietly contributes to muscle breakdown. This type of low-grade inflammation does not cause immediate pain or obvious symptoms, which is why it often goes unnoticed. Instead, it gradually interferes with the body's ability to repair muscle tissue, even when protein intake appears sufficient. Over time, this creates a situation where muscle loss continues despite a seemingly healthy diet. Quercetin helps interrupt this process by reducing inflammatory activity, allowing the body to shift more effectively into repair and rebuilding mode. Clinical research from the University of Texas Health Science Center supports this mechanism. In a controlled trial involving adults over 70, participants who consumed quercetin-rich foods daily for 8 weeks experienced a significant reduction in inflammatory markers, along with improved muscle protein synthesis. This suggests that the body was not only less inflamed, but also more responsive to dietary protein during that period. Another important advantage of guava is its exceptionally high vitamin C content. In fact, it contains several times more vitamin C than an orange. This is significant because vitamin C plays a crucial role in collagen production. Collagen is not just a skin-related protein, it is a structural component that supports muscles, tendons, and ligaments. Without enough collagen, the structural integrity of the musculoskeletal system weakens, increasing the risk of injury and reducing overall strength and stability. Many older adults mistakenly assume that feelings of weakness or reduced mobility are simply a normal part of aging. However, in many cases, these changes are strongly influenced by nutritional gaps that affect collagen production and tissue repair. By supporting both inflammation control and structural protein synthesis, guava addresses two of the most important underlying factors in age-related muscle decline. In terms of practical use, guava is also one of the easiest fruits to incorporate into daily eating habits. It requires no cooking or preparation. It can be eaten raw like an apple, including the skin, which actually contains a significant portion of its fiber and antioxidant content. For those who prefer a softer texture, it can be sliced and mashed into oatmeal or yogurt, or blended into smoothies for a quick nutrient boost. There is also evidence suggesting that timing may enhance its benefits. Consuming guava about 30 to 45 minutes before light physical activity, such as walking or simple resistance exercises, may improve nutrient utilization. Research indicates that when quercetin and protein are present in the bloodstream during movement, muscle protein synthesis can increase by up to 25% compared to resting conditions. This makes guava not just a passive food choice, but something that can actively support the body during physical activity. The next fruit takes a very different approach. Instead of focusing primarily on protein or antioxidants alone, it plays a key role in oxygen delivery and cellular energy production inside the muscles themselves. It is a fruit that many people overlook completely, yet its effects on strength and endurance are surprisingly powerful. Dried mulberries are often overlooked in modern diets, yet they carry a nutritional profile that is particularly relevant for maintaining strength and muscle function in older adults. On the surface, they may look like a simple dried fruit similar to raisins, but their internal composition tells a far more significant story. A quarter-cup serving contains around 4 grams of protein, along with approximately 2 grams of iron, a combination that plays a critical role in how muscles perform and recover. Iron is essential because it supports oxygen transport in the bloodstream. Every muscle cell depends on oxygen to generate energy, repair damage, and maintain normal function. When iron levels are low, oxygen delivery becomes less efficient, which can directly affect endurance, strength, and recovery capacity. This is why iron deficiency is strongly linked with fatigue and reduced physical performance, especially in older populations. A 2023 study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults with insufficient iron experienced muscle loss nearly twice as fast as those with adequate levels. This highlights an important point. Muscle maintenance is not only about protein intake, but also about whether the body has the oxygen-carrying capacity required to actually use that protein effectively. Beyond iron and protein, dried mulberries contain a powerful compound called resveratrol. This is the same antioxidant that gained attention through studies on red wine, but in mulberries it appears in a more concentrated and alcohol-free form. Resveratrol is associated with the activation of a gene pathway known as SIRT1, which plays a key role in cellular repair and energy regulation. When SIRT1 is activated, muscle cells behave in a more youthful way. They repair damage more efficiently, produce more mitochondria, and resist breakdown processes associated with aging. This is particularly important because mitochondria are responsible for producing energy inside cells. As people age, mitochondrial function naturally declines, which contributes to fatigue, slower recovery, and reduced physical strength. Research from the Buck Institute for Research on Aging has shown that resveratrol can improve mitochondrial function in muscle cells by up to 22%. This improvement translates into more sustained energy production and better muscular endurance, which can make everyday activities feel less tiring and more manageable. Another advantage of dried mulberries is their simplicity. They require no preparation, cooking, or special handling. They can be eaten directly as a snack, added to cereals, mixed into yogurt, or combined with nuts and other dried fruits to create a nutrient-dense trail mix. Their naturally sweet and slightly tangy flavor also makes them easy to consume consistently, which is important for long-term nutritional benefits. To further enhance iron absorption, pairing dried mulberries with vitamin C-rich foods is recommended. Studies published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition suggest that vitamin C can increase iron absorption by up to 67%, significantly improving how much usable iron the body actually obtains from food. This means that combining mulberries with foods like oranges, strawberries, or citrus-based additions can enhance their overall effectiveness. At this stage, the focus shifts from supporting oxygen delivery and energy production to something even more fundamental: the structure and integrity of muscle cells themselves. The next fruit plays a direct role in how nutrients enter muscle cells and how efficiently they are used once inside. It influences the very environment in which muscle growth either happens or slows down. Avocado is often misunderstood because people tend to focus only on its fat content, but in reality, it plays a much deeper role in muscle function, especially in older adults. While it does contain around 4 grams of protein per fruit, its real value comes from the nearly 15 grams of monounsaturated fats that support cellular health at a structural level. To understand why this matters, it helps to think about how muscle cells actually work. Each muscle cell is surrounded by a membrane made primarily of fats. This membrane controls what enters and exits the cell, including nutrients like amino acids from protein. As the body ages, these cell membranes often become less flexible and more rigid. When that happens, nutrient transport becomes less efficient, meaning that even if protein intake is sufficient, the muscle cells may not fully receive or use it. The monounsaturated fats in avocado help improve the flexibility and function of these cell membranes. This allows nutrients to pass into the muscle cells more effectively, improving the body's ability to use protein for repair and growth. From a physiological perspective, this is not about increasing protein intake, but about improving protein utilization. A large 2022 study, published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, followed nearly 2,800 adults over the age of 65 for 3 years. The findings showed that individuals who consumed avocado regularly, at least 3 times per week, maintained significantly better muscle mass and physical performance compared to those who did not, even when total protein intake was similar between both groups. This strongly suggests that food quality and composition can be just as important as total protein quantity. Avocados are also one of the richest natural sources of potassium, containing even more than bananas. Potassium is essential for muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and preventing cramps or spasms that are common in older age. Without sufficient potassium, muscles may not respond properly to signals from the nervous system, leading to weakness, stiffness, or irregular function. In addition, avocados contain glutathione, a powerful antioxidant often referred to as the body's master antioxidant. Glutathione helps protect muscle cells from oxidative stress, which is one of the contributing factors to age-related muscle decline. By reducing oxidative damage, it supports the preservation of muscle tissue over time. What makes avocado especially practical is how easy it is to include in daily meals. It requires no cooking and can be eaten in several simple ways. It can be consumed directly with a spoon, spread on toast, blended into smoothies for added creaminess, or added to salads and warm meals. It also pairs well with other protein sources